All right, it is time for me to try on the Red Guardian popcorn tin before we get into this review. Which, yeah, let's do it. Fits like a glove. Yep. Not only is that really uncomfortable, but I can't see shit out of it. So, because it does not fit at all. Actually, I've seen no one wear this thing and it actually fit. I get ideas maybe it's made for like David Harbour's head, but I think even David Harbour's head wouldn't fit in there. And you're supposed to open up, but what's the point of that when this is already a tin? So, I don't know. It's cool. Definitely when I saw it, I had to get it because I love me Red Guardian. He is one of my favorite Marvel characters. No, yeah. So I'm gonna do this review the same way I do all my Marvel reviews. So if you're new to my channel, I don't beat around the bush with Marvel. I don't do spoiler, non-spoiler reviews. Fuck it. Marvel movies are some of the biggest movies ever. Everybody's gonna see them. Yeah, there's a couple in there like the Marvels that people don't really see, but fuck it. You're all gonna see this movie. Why am I gonna sit here and pretend and not do that? So, but I will warn you before I go into spoilers, like I always do. So if you are someone who's worried about spoilers, I usually try to keep it spoiler free and then do a little warning towards the spoilers. I really like this movie. I honestly believe this is going to be the best Marvel movie of the year. Captain America was pretty flawed. It wasn't a great movie. It was good though. I liked it. Fantastic Four, I have my concerns about it. I'll talk about that when we get closer to that movie. But honestly, this movie I didn't really have any concerns about. My only issue I had going into this movie was is this just going to be Marvel Suicide Squad? Because I'm kind of sick of that. And no, this is a very different movie from Suicide Squad. It definitely has elements of that, where you had characters who were sent on a mission to die. They're all bad guys that team up. But it goes a very different direction with the story and the characters and the themes. This movie is about dealing with your past traumas, depression, anxiety, dealing with that negative aspect within you that's in all of us as people, and learning to heal and move forward and control that. And it's a working progress, and so that's an interesting thematic thing that I really enjoyed. So I thought that was great. I really enjoyed that. In fact, most of this movie is really focused on Bob, and I won't spoil who Bob is until towards the end of the video. But Bob, his storyline, and then you see Yelena's storyline, and I thought that was really beautiful. But every character gets a moment to shine, except for Ghost. I really didn't feel like she was needed much on the team, but she did her stuff, I guess. She helped out in like one scene, and that was it. And then John Walker is just there as well. But I think he works to add some kind of humor to the team because he's kind of a dickish Captain America that has the right humor. Same with the Red Guardian. Those two had the humor to the team, where everybody else kind of did more stuff. Ghost really didn't do much, but whatever. So yeah, I thought that was really good. Also, dealing with like corruption and politics and stuff, I feel like this is another thing that I really appreciate about the new Daredevil season, that Marvel is starting to dive into stories that parallel real world things, without being too direct, to still not feel like escapism. That's really fun, and I like that. All the performances in this movie was great. Florence Pugh did a lot of her own stunts, and you can see that in the movie. The movie just felt very different. And now spoilers. Spoilers, I think everybody knew Taskmaster was going to die in this movie, but I really did not understand why they killed her the way she did. She literally just dies because Elena goes on this mission. John Walker shows up to kill her, and then Ghost shows up to kill John Walker. And so these three are all trying to kill each other, and she's also there to kill one of them. I can't remember which one. And then she just dies, and then Bob's there, and I'm just sitting here like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why are we trying to kill? Um, why are we trying to? Why, like, what's the point of this character? The Marvel was wasting a lot of their great villains. They just have. This is something that deserves to be complained about more. There's really no reason for it. Taskmaster is such a great, incredibly well written, well realized character that they fucking wasted in the MCU for no reason. Her role in Black Widow was terrible. And during the fact that they made that character a woman for no reason, which I don't really mind as long as you do something interesting, didn't bother to. And then they just kill her off in this movie, which I knew she was going to die, but I thought it would be like more of a heroic sacrifice or her trying to do something in the story. It just felt like they didn't know what to do with her. They didn't know how to make her interesting. So he just said, fuck you, you're out of here. And you're like, it was just the worst part of the movie, honestly. I also liked seeing Elena deal with the death of her Black Widow still, which I think is actually very like her journey in this movie is really strong. Where you see that she's still dealing with that. She doesn't really know how to feel about her own dad, but she also wants her dad to be there, even though in a way he's Red Guardian's not really her dad and doesn't know how to be her dad. But what I think is strong about that is if you watch the not Black Widow, Hawkeye show, she goes on this mission to kill, the person who killed Black Widow, but it doesn't really bring her any comfort, and she obviously didn't succeed in that because, we still have Hawkeye. But I think that's really cool that she went on that mission. And then now you're seeing the aftermath of that, and she's not really healing or feeling better throughout this whole show or this whole movie, and she has to learn to grapple with, hey, her sister's gone. She feels like shit after all the shit that's been in her past, and that now she has to deal with it and heal. And I thought that was really beautiful. John Walker, some of his family drama stuff, I felt like needed to be explored a little bit more, but we know who that character is enough from the fucking Winter Soldier. I thought it was okay. Ghost, they didn't really ever show what was going on in her mind and what she was dealing with. And so it felt like a huge missed opportunity for that character. Like, I just felt like, okay. I don't like that character because the movie she came from, number one, Ant-Man the Wasp, was pretty bad. And then she just doesn't really do much here. So I'm not really sure. I also think it was very weird that if you know the timeline of the MCU really well, Bucky killed JFK in this timeline as the Winter Soldier. Yet he got elected as a senator, and then, which doesn't even make sense. Like, how would he get elected as a senator? And then they don't even do anything with that. I think would have been better is Bucky came in to run as a senator, was barred from acting, being a senator, because it's really weird how they're like, oh, you should have a term, and they don't even explain why he got kicked out from being a senator. He just kind of lost the seat, which I'm assuming is because he resigned because he didn't like how the system was playing out, which they do. You show hints of that in that movie. He has certain lines to Valentina in this movie that, hey, I didn't, or certain characters, like, you guys go on lunch breaks every day and don't really do much. And, like, yeah, the system of the Senate and that kind of politics is broken. I mean, we see that currently right now with the Trump administration. But it is a little bit weird. I didn't really care for that. not really sure what they were going with that whole storyline. Didn't really tie much into this movie other than Bucky was kind of involved in politics in this, but not really. So I don't know. I also find it weird by the end of the movie that Bob is still learning to manage sentries, so which he's supposed to be in Doomsday. So I'm not really sure that's supposed to work. But maybe I think the idea is that Doctor Doom's gonna weaponize Sentry, which we'll see how that goes. Um, but the other thing, we gotta talk about the fact that they were announced to be Avengers at the end of the movie, which very bizarre because we still don't know who the actual Avengers are, but they're Avengers, so we'll see how that works out. But then it shows them dealing with the crisis, and oh look, it's the Fantastic Four ship, which they say otherworldly craft. Maybe they use. I think they mentioned something about another dimension. I really guess that these characters were fleeing from their dimension because they lose at the end of the Fantastic Four movie. That's what I suspect. I think they lose to Galactus, so they flee to our dimension, or they defeat Galactus and realize Doom's coming to this dimension and they gotta stop him. Who knows? I think that's really cool. I was actually shocked though by all these like Avengers stuff. This movie ties in so heavily to the new Avengers stuff. That didn't feel like a headache, but it does feel like, oh, people who are reviewing this movie and going a super standalone. Yeah, it is, I guess, but I don't know how much you're going to want to think of it that way once it ties into the Avengers stuff, you know? But it's a really solid movie. I think this is the best Marvel movie since Infinity War, honestly. Yes, I think this is a better movie than Endgame. I know so many people love Endgame. I was not a fan. So many people love No Way Home. I liked it fine enough, but I don't know. I really love this movie. I think this movie was great. Did a lot for these characters. Had a lot of great themes. And really put the MCU on the right track with some of these storylines. I do think, though, another criticism I will say is that for the first act, a lot of the action was pretty boring because they really did pick a team of just super soldiers. And literally that's it. The only one that's different is Ghost. But again, she doesn't really do much. So, you know, I don't think the Thunderbolts are going to stay being the new Avengers. They're going to do something else. But, yeah. Red Guardian out. I'm going to put on the mask one more time. Like, share, and subscribe.